So, the learning event this week was the story of Lewis Blackman. I have learned about medical errors and mistakes in the past, but I was unaware to the full extent of how bad they may be. I feel like in the past I've heard stories prescribing the wrong medication or doses, but this one was particularly frustrating because it was clear that no one was listening to Lewis or his mother. Another thing that I learned was the differing levels of care depending on the time of day and whether it's a weekday or weekend. You might receive worse care because it's, a shift that people might not want to be at. They might be tired, but it's still not acceptable that there's no standard care across the board. This is very alarming because I think everyone should receive the same care regardless of the time or the day. A person interviewed in the documentary said that his outcomes, or Lewis's outcomes, probably would have been totally different had it not been a weekend that he was admitted. What happened to Lewis and his family was unfair, and I think everyone needs to be aware of it. It is really easy to go to the hospital or the doctor and just assume that you're in good hands. However, after watching this, I will definitely be more likely to question the care I'm receiving in healthcare. This reminded me of the Anatomy of Trust video and how quickly it is to lose trust in someone or something. The video made me lose some trust in our healthcare system. I learned this from watching the videos that have been posted and doing some additional research of my own because I was very intrigued and wanted to see how many other stories were similar to Lewis's. And it was so shocking to read some of the medical errors that still occur to this day. I think that this proves that a lot of the main errors are in communication because we have advanced technology. We have a lot better tools in other places as well. And we still have really bad health outcomes at times. So I think that we must find a better system for patient handoffs and communication between doctors because this is when the most amount of errors occur. It is also important to somehow find a way to improve care during late shifts or weekend shifts because Lewis's death could have been prevented if people had paid closer attention to him and his condition. Learning about this story was really frustrating and saddening. I can't imagine how he felt and how his family felt watching all this occur and nobody did anything. Although it was a hard story to listen to, I'm glad that I learned about it because as a future healthcare worker, it is so important to be aware of stories like this and to try and prevent it in the future. I think these past few semesters have been a little more difficult to learn effectively because it is easy to slack off or get behind when I do not have in-person classes. I think I would have benefited more if I would have taken notes and watched this video sitting up or somewhere other than laying in my bed, watching it on my laptop. I think it's really easy to zone out when you're not in an environment that promotes good learning. So building off of that in the future, I think I need to designate a space that's just for learning. I do not have a desk in my apartment this year, and I have some roommates, so it's kind of difficult to do it in the living room. But I do a lot of homework from my bed, and this makes it more difficult to learn effectively and efficiently because I do not have the same focus as I have in a real classroom or a good learning space. So I'm going to try and find a spot I feel comfortable in, but less distracting than laying in bed. I also think I need to start putting my phone across the room or turning it off and also keep the TV off so that the only thing I am paying attention to is my work. I think this will help me reach my full learning potential if I'm able to do these things for myself. In addition to this, my attitude about learning has changed. I feel less engaged in the material than when I had to get out of my apartment and sit in the classroom and only had school to focus on instead of all the distractions I have at home. I know the world is a weird and challenging place right now with COVID and the lack of human interaction, but I still need to have high expectation when it comes to my education. I have lost some motivation for my classes within the past year of being online, but I'm going to try to set new goals for myself, maybe every week or every 2 weeks, just something to work toward. So that will hopefully encourage myself to still put in the same effort that I was previously.